Before we get into the review, I'd like to thank Lethal Gaming Gear for sending this mousepad out to me. However, with that being said, I do want to mention that that's not going to have any type of sway in the review, and I'm going to be completely unbiased. So first off, I want to preface that this mousepad is going to be a control pad. It is going to be a slower pad than their counterpart to this mousepad, which was the Venus, which I have a review out on. So as for the glide, I'm actually going to use a lot of comparisons to compare this to other control pads that a lot of people may be familiar with. But for anyone who doesn't know, this is going to be a pad that's going to be a lower speed and a bit better control overall with your mouse and just like stopping power and stuff like that. As for the comparisons, I actually have it written down from whenever I was testing this pad. I wanted to make sure I got a really good comparison, so I brought all of my control pads, kind of got them together to get a nice comparison for people and getting all the attributes. So when it comes to the speed, it's actually going to be on the higher, like more balanced, I would say, speed for a control pad. It's not going to be a very muddy feeling. To some people that may be a bad thing, to some people that may be a good thing. That in my preference, I like that better. I am like more on the speedier side of things when it comes to pads, so I do appreciate that a lot. So with those comparisons in speed, the Lethal Gaming Gear is going to be a bit faster than the Radar and the Zero. So if you do have either of those pads, I would say it's a bit more like faster than both of those pads, but it's not going to be like a huge jump. It's just going to be a more balanced feeling, kind of like the term that I found and I really like for it. Now, initial friction. So when I say initial friction, I mean like whenever you have your mouse stopped and you go to move it. Also, you can kind of feel the initial friction whenever you change directions. The initial friction on this pad is going to be higher than the Zero, but lower than the Radar. It's going to be like right in the middle. Some people may like that. I like it a lot, actually. I think this initial friction is a really good medium point for, especially for a lot of people who are going to be playing games like Valorant or any kind of like Tac FPS players, or maybe people who enjoy like dynamic clicking. So maybe if you're playing like Overwatch and stuff and you're playing like Widow or something, I think this would be a very good kind of balance for the initial friction, if that makes any sense. Now, the stopping power on this is actually going to be better than the Zero in my opinion. I do think this has some really good stopping power. That's something that Lethal Gaming Gear has really figured out, and they've kind of nailed it, which is very exciting to see. So overall, I would contend this pad as a kind of a balanced control pad, so it's not going to feel very muddy, which I enjoy. However, I will say the initial friction is a bit higher than what I like. I like something that's a little bit better to come from a stop. That's all about personal preference, and also like a lot about like what your goals are whenever you're using a mouse pad. All right, so I want to go over a couple of the basic things whenever you're looking at a mouse pad, especially whenever you're gonna get into a more premium mouse pad, which is what this is going to be. We're going to go over the dimensions. So the dimensions that I have here are 500 by 500. However, they do have another option. The other size option is going to be 490 by 410. The smaller size is going to be a $50 price tag, and the larger size is going to be $55. That being said, that is a huge benefit, and just to get a huge plus side to the Lethal Gaming Gear pads, and something I'm really happy they did. You know, coming out with a 500 by 500 size, I really want to see some more companies doing this, and it's the perfect size in my opinion. So as for the base, a lot of people are going to know this, and we're gonna quickly go over this. It's gonna be a pour-on base. So if you don't know what pour-on is, that is the base that Artisan actually uses, and it is gonna be amazing pour-on. It's gonna be the best base that you can actually, like, in my opinion, the best base you can find. It's gonna stick on every desk. I mean, I can literally shake my desk if I want to with this stuff, so you don't have to worry about it, you know, moving or anything while you're playing. Also, with that said, we're going to go over like the squish of it, and they're calling this their X soft, which I would agree this is an X soft. However, you're not going to sink in very much due to the thickness of the pad, because this is going to be a thinner pad. So you won't sink in a lot if you do choose to press down, if you like to do that for more control, or if you kind of just like monkey aim and you have like really heavy aim. Stitching on this pad is going to be about level, maybe a little bit below, nothing insane. I did have a little bit of fraying on my Venus, however on my Saturn I do not have that. That being said, there is an issue where mine does not lay flat on the edges, so like right here. And I've even tried the trick that I use with most other pads that have had this issue, whenever they come shipped rolled up, where you kind of like roll it over the opposite way and press it down, but that does not completely resolve the issue, which is actually... The funny thing is, this comes shipped flat, so I'm not really sure why the edges roll up. I know some other people have experienced this. I believe if I would have reached out to them and requested for them to send me another one, they would have done that in a heartbeat. I know some people that weren't reviewers, just consumers who bought the pad who had the same issue, and reached out to them and told them have actually, you know, had another pad sent out. So I believe if I wanted to, I could have, but I'm not really concerned about it, and it just kind of gives me a thing to go over whenever I'm reviewing, just so people are wary of it. However, you know, I've still played with this pad, and I don't necessarily have any issues with it. It's just kind of like one of those annoying things, like if you do notice it, or if you just, it's kind of like a placebo thing. So the texture actually of this pad is going to be a very, I want to say dry and like dull texture. It is smooth, but it's not like Artisan Zero smooth. I don't really know how to explain it, but you know, it does the job. And if anyone's curious about it, you're not going to have it really like scratching your arm or anything, even though it is a bit more of a like a coarser fiber or whatever you want to call it. There's also going to be a Lethal Gaming Gear logo that is going to be painted on. However, like, you can put it in whatever corner you want, and I honestly can't really tell that it's there, like whenever I run my mouse over it. So, you know, to each their own. If that bothers you, that bothers you, but I don't really have an issue with it. So in conclusion, what I would say about this pad is it is going to be a very good contender for anyone who's just trying to get into the premium mousepad scene and wants a control surface, or maybe someone who owns a Zero and wants a less muddier feeling, because I do think this is going to be a bit more of a balanced feeling compared to the Zero, which in my opinion is a much more comfortable and fun feeling for me, but I know that is a very biased take. Also, for anyone who wants to get a control pad that's going to be in 500 by 500, and maybe they do want an X-off base, they want a pour-on base, they want the great stitching. There's not a whole lot of control pads out there that are going to be contending this mouse pad, which is very awesome to see them do. And I just want to see Lethal Gaming Gear keep doing what they're doing. The price point, I would say, is it's pretty fair. You know, you're not going to get something with pour-on for much cheaper just because of how expensive pour-on is. And you are still going to be able to get the amazing stitching, the flat shipping, amazing shipping times, and other things like that, as well as their very easy to manage website. So with that being said, I think that anyone who's in the mouse market or mousepad market for a control pad with amazing premium features and they want to experience it, then you should definitely look into this pad. Alright, so for everyone who made it this far, I appreciate you guys. If you guys don't mind considering subscribing to the channel, it means a lot. The more subscribers I have, looks better to companies, it gets me more products sent out. Therefore, I get to do more reviews for you guys. I want to thank you guys again for all the love you guys have been showing here recently. And if you want to join my Discord to stay connected, then it'll be in the description below along with all my other socials. See you later, guys.